Okay, Assalamu alaikum and welcome to my presentation. My name is Abdullahi Binta Suleiman, a Nigerian by birth and currently working as a lecturer in the Islamic University of Technology, Department of Technical and Vocational Education. So my topic of discussion is actually a story of Zahra. Sounds funny, right? A story of Zahra. So, actually, coming from Africa or West Africa, precisely Nigeria, we normally encounter challenges. The female, when it comes to Western education enrollment, mostly in the northern part of the country where I belong to. So it is actually a story shared by an elderly woman, which she narrated the various challenges and how she overcome those in trying to become an engineer or in trying to be educated in those days as of that time. Because now in the 21st century, things have changed actually for the good, or if not for the better. So actually, it is a kind of biographic narrative sort of we can say research, actually, where someone normally willingly can tell and share his or her story so that the story could serve as a lesson to upcoming or younger generation. So in the story of Zara, actually, she is an African woman who is currently an electrical engineer and has been working as an academic staff with a university, renowned university in Africa. And also she is a philanthropist. So she said it is believed that her story should serve as a motivation to younger women in the engineering and academic sectors in remote areas of Africa. The whole essence of her story is actually to serve as a motivation or to encourage younger upcoming girls in the field of engineering or who wants to become an engineer in the future, actually, or academicians. So actually the method used, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's a biographic narrative study, which is part of a qualitative method of research. It is a qualitative approach of research, actually. And the tool which was used in this research or study is actually a semi-structured interview. Yeah, the interview was a kind of semi-structured because it cannot be structured because options are given. It's kind of flexible. The woman willingly shared her story, and through that, the data was collected actually. And after it, there was a kind of restraint, which is basically analyzing the story. From the story, we normally come off with a cause whereby subsequent themes were obtained, actually. And that is under what we call thematic analysis of narrative or qualitative sort of approach of research. So we know in mostly more when we are conducting a qualitative sort of research, we do normally ensure that we abide by ethical standards. We make sure that reliability also is ensured in the sense that the participant actually, or where we obtain the data, actually it addresses the life experiences and the challenges of the participants in questions actually, and that was equally ensured. So the main purpose of the story is, all we can say, the themes that were highlighted in the story were about the situation whereby the woman, actually the Zara, who shared her story, actually adapt in order to overcome the various challenges at each and every level. You know, in our lives, mostly we do normally encounter challenges from one stage after the other. But when you are growing after you complete high secondary school, by the time you find yourself in higher institution, by the time you get married, by the time you combine your the careers as well as the family and keeping everything or trying to keep it in balance. Actually, obviously, there are various challenges that we encounter during employment with other colleagues, the general public, the way the perceptions of the people around us actually in relation to what we are doing as individuals, as female, as mothers, as sisters in the societies as well, equally. So at the same time, there are the challenges actually, and how those challenges were subsequently overcome. So, among the various challenges that were highlighted is, first of all, the financial constraint. The financial constraint, in the sense that actually coming from the middle class family, as of that time and even today, it is very difficult for the parent to afford most of the well-structured sort of academic institutions ranging from the universities and other higher institutions of learning, because it requires huge amount of money for a child to be enrolled in such kind of institutions. So actually there was that problem which she encountered even from the early stage, because she happens to come or to be from a middle class family. And at the same time, you know, those types of constraints, more especially having to do with finances, money, and the rest, are a kind of demotivative. A child could be very intelligent, but at the same time, in a situation whereby there is no enough money to afford for the better schools, that becomes a sort of demotivation, actually, because the chance for that child to fulfill his or her dreams is lowered down as a result of financial issues. And at the same time, by the time at the later stage of her life, she also encountered gender discrimination and societal stigma, which is placed on women in certain professions mostly. You do realize that in our society, mostly in Africa, there are certain professions that are underlined when a female gender normally wants to enroll in such types of profession. Normally, there are a lot of discrimination, there are a lot of issues that people normally see those sort of professions um, only belong to men or the opposite gender, which is totally not supposed to be. Actually, because all of us are human beings, we have talent, we are given the same brain, we are capable. So far, any woman is capable of, proving herself in such type of profession, then she should be accepted, irrespective of the fact that she is a woman. The only reason is the femaleness, nothing else. Not in the capability, not in the talent, not in the demonstration of hard working and the rest, actually. So talking about those were basically the challenges actually, which we believe even today there are various discrimination upon female gender. That's why sustainable development goal, inclusion of women is one of the key prominent aspects that were addressed. So coming to talk about the situations, actually, of course, whenever there are problems, Your determination or your strength as a person or an individual is something that will make you reach or fulfill your potential as an individual. That is your ability or your capability to overcome such type of challenges or problems encountered. So actually her strengths, one of it is for her ability to successfully complete a higher secondary school with good result. You know, the basics is the primary level of education, what we call elementary level of education. After that, normally the secondary level of education. From the secondary level of education, that is a determining point, because if you happen to have good grades after completing your secondary school or your high level, your senior secondary school certificate with good grades, then you'll be able to get admitted in one of the higher institution of learning, depending on your grades. So that is a determining point. So her one prominent situation was that irrespective of the financial constraints and other challenges she encountered, being, from the middle class family, socio-economic status actually. So she was able to complete with a good grade. And that gave her the chance to be enrolled in one of the best institutions in the country as of that time. Actually, that is her main strength, because had it been she did not work hard, she did not study much, she wouldn't be able to get the good grades that will allow her to be enrolled or admitted in the University of Technology, where she obtained her Bachelor's of Engineering in Electrical and Electronics Engineering. So, and at the same time, there she is a kind of confidence in herself. There is this competency, there is this confidence, there is this zeal in her as a young girl, as a female. Actually, she has this focus in her that I am determined to become who I want to become. And that is the most this is very important for younger generation to learn from. Actually, you have to be very confident. You have to have your goals. You have to have your aims. And you do whatever possible you can to make sure that you get to that dream of yours. That is what she did actually. She demonstrated various leadership skills actually, which she obtained through various training, workshops, and other programs in her life, and through academic career and her profession. And also she has this ability to overcome the employment and societal stigma and challenges while turning it to her advantage and prioritizing it for the benefit of the society. This is also very important. Somebody should know that, okay, I know who I am. This is what I want to be. Irrespective, forget about the way people look upon you. Forget about people's sentiment. Forget about people's perceptions and notions toward you. All you have is you. You know very well what you want to do, what you want to achieve, then you go for it. You don't have to allow people's notion and perceptions to deprive you from reaching your potentials and goals. As a female, you shouldn't take it. You shouldn't use our emotion to relent you from being who you are or from becoming who you want to become in your future. People or younger generation should have to keep it in mind that this is what we want to do, and we want to do it irrespective of the circumstances and the position. People should be very serious. People should be passionate about what they want to do, whatever it is. And also there is this love for humanity that people should capitalize on. And people should try as much as they can to turn their challenges or disadvantages to become advantages for other people. That is how we can build our society. That is how our society can grow, actually. And that was one of her strengths. So also there were kind of motivation, because without motivation, actually, she won't be able to get to where she is currently, actually. And the whole essence of the story of Zahra is a kind of motivation itself. That is the whole essence, is to serve as a motivation to younger generation who are willing to become engineers and teachers in future. Because we do realize that in engineering profession, there is this stigma that it is a profession of man. It is a profession for each and every individual who have the talents, the skills, and the ability to be one. That is how people should view it. This is what younger generation should keep in their mind, and should not allow anybody to deprive them of being what they want to be in future. So the recommendations made as far as this research or story, or we can say study, is concerned, is that there is need for early nurturing and self-development from young age, starting from elementary education. That is, the people or parents, we can say, or guardians, should have to guide their their children, their wards, their sisters, their brothers, actually, to determine what they are capable of doing from the early stage. Actually, people or parents should not capitalize on certain profession for their children. They should just try and nurture and also improve or capitalize on development of the talent of young children or younger generation or upcoming generations. Also, there is need for turning our challenges to our advantage, as I have said before. We shouldn't, use or allow our past to determine our future. That should not be. Whatever past, let it pass forever, and think of the future. That is how it should be. And that's what young girls or young women out there should have in their minds. And women generally are supposed to develop self-respect, competence, and confidence wherever they found themselves. As women, since there is this notion of society upon us because of our femaleness. So we have to disprove all that. We have to prove that we are capable and we can do it. Actually, how can we do it? Through ensuring our competency, through developing our self-respect, through ensuring that we are the mothers we are. Exactly, that is how it should be. And this is some of the recommendation we are given. So in conclusion, participant information, even though adept but could not have been sufficient enough to make conclusion, though the researcher and the participant share a mutual personal and professional relationship, because we happen to be from the same region, the same continent, the same community, the same tribe, and almost similar in our socio-economical status and background. So this helped the researcher extensively, as lots of information about the participants were known by the researcher herself or himself. The researcher is also a beginner in the study method of this kind. Therefore, some minor issues arose while collecting and analyzing the overall data. As we know, the narrative biographic sort of a research, actually the researcher themselves are not very competent. It's a kind of trial by error, because as a researcher, you need to explore various approaches of research. You shouldn't relate yourself to only quantitative sort of methods where you use softwares and what you have to analyze data. Also, in the qualitative research itself, also a researcher has options to explore various approaches, actually, as there are a lot of approaches to qualitative research itself. Actually, many of it ethnography, you can say, many of it phenomenography and what you have. So that is one thing. So ethical statement or ethical, procedure and conducts were ensured. Actually, there were no conflicts, and the contribution were a collective effort from both the researchers. There were no any funding actually, and the researchers sincerely want to acknowledge the participant for sharing her biography so as to serve as a motivation to younger generation. And here are the various references that were used in the previous academia actually. And with that, I came to the conclusion of my study, the story of Zahra. Thank you very much, and hope to see you in the future.